The tea is exceptionally good today. Who made this? Very delicious. Hold on.
Hey, my cosmic cousins, it's your girl Nova Charm, and welcome to another episode of Astrology Tea with Nova Charm. And on this episode, you already know we got to get into the tea of this Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. Now, of course, this is the last retrograde of the year. We made it through. Y'all. But please believe me when I tell you, this one is definitely a trip. And not just because the Mercury retrograde is in Sagittarius either. It's just a trip all around, okay? But before I dive too deep into it, you already know the drill. Go ahead and hit that like. Go ahead and subscribe to your girl if you haven't already. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of this cosmic tea that I want to sip with you. And trust me, there's a lot on the way. Now let's get into it. Now, of course, with any Mercury retrograde, you have to look out for just the basics. Like any type of traffic, you might want to give yourself a little bit more time when leaving out. You might misplace your keys. You might have some tech issues, okay? Might have some issues communicating, and you might have some exes come back in. You know, that's typical Mercury retrograde. Now, think bigger, okay? This transit is about the bigger picture, your beliefs, those grand and optimistic plans that you've been chasing. Now, I have to tell you, if you've been feeling the urge to quit your job or book that one-way trip to that foreign country to stick around, now is not the time to do it. Don't do it this month, not in November, okay? Because this Mercury retrograde will be going on from November 9th all the way until November 29th. Now, 2 days after this retrograde and Mercury kind of gets underway, then Jupiter will also go into retrograde on the 11th, which I have a video coming really soon right behind this one about that energy. So look out for that one. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss it, okay? But yeah, there's a lot going on. So now it's not the time to make any major decisions. And I'm going to break down why. Now, when it comes to Mercury and Sagittarius, Mercury is actually in its detriment when dealing with Sagittarius. Sagittarius is all the way on the other side of Gemini. It is the complete opposite of Gemini, and Gemini's home is Mercury. And Sagittarius' home is Jupiter. And if you think about those two planets, they are opposites. Like they deal with the same themes. However, they deal with them on different levels. Mercury deals with the smaller details, whereas Jupiter deals with the bigger picture, the expansion of those same items. Mercury needs facts. It needs precision. It needs the logical, analytical facts. It wants it on paper. AKA, Mercury needs them damn receipts, okay? But Sagittarius being ruled by Jupiter, it loves the grand vision. It loves the philosophy. It loves the seeking the truth and freedom. Sagittarius energy is all about the adventure, whereas Mercury needs to know who all going, what time we gonna be there, and how we get in there. It needs all the details before it even leaves out, okay? So you see why it's considered to be in its detriment here, okay? It's definitely not feeling at its best. Now, there are three main clashes that I can think of off top that this energy will bring in. I think we started to see a lot of it already in the news when it comes to the airports closing and the TSAs, workers not being available because the government is still shut down and so nobody is flying out like they need to, or the lines is crazy long. I believe that they're going to just go ahead and shut down a lot of the flight traveling, and this is what Sagittarius in Mercury retrograde brings in. This isn't just the standard small little delays that Mercury retrograde typically brings in, because Sagittarius is big. It's an expanded version. So we talking about major delays. if we're being honest with the state of everything that's been going on, I literally would not be traveling to see anybody for this particular holiday that's coming up for, the thanks of the Giving Day. I mean, do a Zoom call with your family if they live in another state or if they live in another country. I would not be getting on a plane or even planning to, okay? That's just me being all the way real. And if you decide to anyway, just make sure you're planning on an adventure, okay? Now, during this time, higher education as well as legal matters can also be affected here. Sagittarius deals with both of those. So you got to triple check and make sure that you have all of your documents. This is a time where documents might come up missing, or you may come across or have some paperwork that needs a complete revision. Another big thing that you want to look out for is that overcommitment clash. Sagittarius is incredibly optimistic, so it can have a tendency sometimes to overpromise. And because the energy may not be at its best, this might be a time when you might sign up for some things without reading that crucial fine print. So just make sure that you're not just double checking, that you're triple checking things, okay? Don't overextend yourself or put too much on your plate, okay? Now, the last thing that I want to talk about as far as the major clash is that bloodness clash. Yes, the bluntness that only a true Sagittarius can bring. Now, Sagittarius is a fire sign, and like I said, it is a sister sign to Gemini, which Gemini deals with the communication of it all. And Mercury is the planet of communication, so communication is always a big thing around Mercury retrogrades, and that big communication aspect of it is the major reason why Mercury retrograde always brings out the X's, okay? But in this case, the communication is going to be incredibly blunt. You have people who are Sagittarius in your life. You know that they lack a filter. They say exactly what's on their mind. Communication is definitely going to come off as fiery and maybe even aggressive as that fire energy gives. And because it's in Sagittarius, which gives that passion but lacks that tact, okay? Conversations may get blown out of proportion. You definitely want to make sure that you're careful when you're sending text messages and emails, especially at work. Make sure that you double, triple, and quadruple check everything before you send it out. Make sure that you're communicating in a way that people are understanding you and that is not overly aggressive, okay? The best way to sum up the core theme of this energy is to revise. Now, although this isn't the time to really be casting our arrow out right now, it's definitely a time, though, where we need to be checking our aim. So I'm going to break it down to you exactly how to do so by using the revise theme. Now, the first thing that we want to do is rethink our beliefs. This is definitely a time where we need to be more open-minded about perspectives. During this time, it's okay to ask yourself, like, what if I was wrong about that? Like, just be real open-minded. Mercury energy as well as Sagittarius energy is mutable energy. So it gives us that diverse energy that allows us to be able to look at things from a different perspective. Now, the next thing that you want to do is edit your goals. Now, Sagittarius energy is always focused on the horizon. It's always looking at that bigger picture, right? But the retrograde asks you to slow down that anchor, okay? It's like, hold on, look at your long-term goals and check. Do you still align with that? Is that what your most authentic self is? Now, I've told you on this channel, a lot of our energy up until this point was about really challenging ourselves on if we are standing in our truth and if we are following our authentic self, or if we are doing the things that we feel like life just wants us to do or what is expected of us, based on the people in our life. So this energy really just kind of calls back to that and make sure that you edit it down a little bit. Yeah, it's time to do some editing. The way to look at it is Gemini is the writer. However, Sagittarius is the publisher. And that's for real. That's like really job goals for anybody with those energies, just so you know, okay? Another thing that is needed during this time is for you to verify the details. Now, Sagittarius energy has a tendency to overlook the small details. This is not a time for that. You want to make sure that you fact check everything. Don't just assume the details will work themselves out. This is a time for you to actually plan and make sure that you sit down and really think about it. Now, another thing that you want to do is embrace the trickster. Things will go wrong, okay? There's going to be bloopers that are guaranteed to happen during this time. it is better to go with the flow and just go with the sense of humor that Sagittarius naturally has, as well as that Mercury energy. All of that has that humorous energy. So fall into that humility. It is a superpower right now, okay? Because there's going to be mistakes that are made. Just be able to laugh it off, make a joke out of it, and keep it moving, okay? Now, real quick, when it comes to the belief system of things, people are really starting to question their churches and what religion really means in this society. Currently, there's a woman on TikTok who's been calling around to all of the major churches in different areas and just seeing if they would be willing to give a can of milk to a hungry baby. And I mean, she even has like a little recording of a baby crying in the background. And most of them is saying no. They don't have it, and they ain't planning on trying to help her get it either, with no type of resources available. And the whole time I'm watching it, I'm just really thinking, like, now this is a Mercury in Sagittarius retrograde energy for your ass right here, okay? She is literally on the phone communication, calling out those churches, which is that Sag energy, and how they're not really helping the community like they claim. Retrograde type shit. Okay, so I mean, the energy is definitely playing its part and it's playing its way out. I mean, during this pre-shadow phase, we had the people who were stuck over in Jamaica and having a problem getting out of there. I mean, there's just a lot. Okay? But because we stay prepared on this channel, we know exactly where that energy is going to show up in our lives, so we know how to handle it. Ain't that right, Cosmic Cousins? Absolutely. So I'm going to break it down per rising sign, how this energy is going to show up in your life, and we're going to go ahead and review that for you. And yeah, so you can navigate this energy to the best of your ability, baby. Now, for my Aries risings, this hits right in your ninth house, which is that Jupiter Sagittarius house of higher learning, long distance travel, as well as life philosophies and education long term. Your belief systems are probably really getting rattled right now, and just embrace it. Now, this may not be a great time for you to take anybody to court right now. And if you're thinking about continuing your education, just make sure that it's something that you really, really want to do. Really think about this decision because it's going to be something that you're going to be, saddled with for a little while. So you want to make sure that it's something that you really want and not doing out of fear. Now, for my Taurus rising, this falls in your eighth house of shared resources, debt, intimacy, and all of that good stuff, passion and power. Okay? This is going to be a time when you want to review joint finances, your taxes, and any debts that you have. Do not take on any new loans right now. Do not do it. Or any high risk investments. I would not take the chance on that during this time. Wait until after the Mercury grade energy wraps up before you make any decisions on anything like that, okay? Now, for my Gemini risings, this falls in your seventh house of partnerships, and you already know how that go. Now, this is the focus on the one-on-one relationships, as well as old partnerships that may reappear. Now, you are the ones that's probably going to have your exes in your inbox heavily around this time, okay? Now, I always tell y'all, don't ever get back with the ex around Mercury retrograde. If y'all are meant to get together, then it will outlast that retrograde. You could talk to them, see what's up, touch base, but typically whenever that energy comes back around, it's just for you to review the balance or fairness and the commitment that you may have had with that person. This is never a time to finalize any type of new contracts, okay? And a relationship is that of a verbal contract, okay? Next are my Cancer risings, and this falls in the sixth house of work, health, and daily routines. This is going to be a time for you to rework your schedule. This is also a time when you want to just rethink your health habits and just your overall daily routine and how that's working out. Now, this is definitely not a time to be starting any new jobs or any major routines that you want to do on a daily basis. This is just not the time for that, okay? It's time to think about what you want to do, but not necessarily put it into action, okay? Now, for my Leo risings, this falls in your fifth house of creativity, romance, and self-expression. This is the time for you to revisit your old creative projects or passions. Now, old flames, of course, you're another one with the Gemini risings. You're going to have your DMs blowing up now. Those old flames is going to be hitting you up, trying to see what it do. Don't make any grand gestures, though. Don't do any type of impulsive type of nada nothing when it comes to them, okay? And when it comes to creative projects, now it's not a time to put anything out right now, okay? We're still in the editing phase. So this is still a time of fine tuning. We're not ready to put anything out. We're not ready to release anything. And we're damn sure not ready to go out and make any grand gestures as far as relationships are concerned, okay? Just like I advise Gemini risings, if it can sustain the time of the Mercury retrograde, then you might want to see what's up afterwards. But yeah, let November slide through and then see if they still around in December, okay? For my Virgo risings, this falls in your fourth house of home and family. Now, this is a time for you to focus on your domestic life, your family dynamics, and your real estates. Do not sign any new lease, though, okay? This is not a time to finalize any home purchases or move during this window. Now, I know for some that, you can't help it, but please, if you can help it, if this is something that is just your decision and your decision only, then yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. Now's not the time to make any of those big jumps. You really want to read the fine print when it comes to any of these type of major things, okay? Now, when it comes to my Libra risings, this hits your third house of communication and local travel. Now, you probably will be dealing with the most on the communication side. Like, you're probably going to be dealing with a little bit of arguments here and there as far as miscommunications. Just make sure that you're not saying anything too over the top and too overly aggressive to the people that you love and care about, as well as you may be dealing with tech glitches, and just make sure you proofread everything, okay? Now, these misunderstandings, I just want to rewind a little bit. Now, these misunderstandings can definitely fall between your neighbors or siblings. These are very likely in this area just because of where this placement is at. So you just want to make sure that you avoid that if you can at all possibly, okay? Avoid sending any of those sensitive texts. Just don't do it right now. And make sure that you don't make any impulsive trips. Like, don't be just riding over somebody's house. Don't, like, please. Now's not the time. And plus, there's major consequences behind it. So don't do it. I wouldn't advise it anyway, okay? Moving on to my Scorpio risings. Now, this falls in your second house of money and self-worth and your materials. Now, this is probably hitting you doubly because, you're already dealing with, the Uranus retrograde and Taurus and everything like that. So you already having some reviews that you're dealing with, but you want to add this to the list, your personal budget, your spending habits, and how that impacts your income strategy. This is definitely not a time to be spending extravagantly. I honestly don't feel like that's a time for anybody right now to be spending extravagantly. I really don't feel like anybody should be doing that right now, okay? But Scorpio risings, there's definitely an emphasis on you guys in particular, okay? Just please don't make any major non-essential purchases. Like, if it's something that you have to have, completely understandable. But if it's something that's just you just wanting, because this energy gives that major just wants, just resist the urge, okay? You'll thank me later. Now, for my Sagittarius risings, this retrograde falls in your first house, of course, of identity. All right. Now, this is highly personal for you. You are reviewing your self image, your goals, and your core direction. Now, don't make any sudden major changes to your appearance or your life path, okay? Yeah, I'm not going to say you would regret your decision. I just feel like in December you may feel a little differently about it. So don't do anything that would be permanent, okay? Now, for my Capricorn risings, this falls in your 12th house of subconscious and solitude. Now, this is a time for some intense, quiet reflection. There's going to be some old issues coming up for y'all. This is a time to journal and get a lot of that out. Meditation might be really good right now for some answers that may be coming in for you. Now, this is not a time for you to ignore the need for rest or force a major breakthrough. Please do not try to force anything during this time, and make sure that you are getting that rest and relaxation. That you tend to kind of overwork yourself a little bit, and I need you to really focus on resting during this time. Now, for my Aquarius risings, this falls in your 11th house. This is actually your home, your house, okay? The Aquarius house is the 11th house. Now, this deals with friends, groups. Aquarius energy also deals with the internet and social media. Now, during this time, you do want to look out for miscommunications with collaborators. Refrain from making any rash judgments when it comes to friends or any type of new groups. Please don't join any new groups during this time or any new social communities. If you are looking to join any type of social communities that are around in your area, this is just a time for you to really just kind of look and review what things are out there, but not make any type of decisions, okay? Now, when it comes to my Pisces rising, this lands in your 10th house of career and reputation. This is a time for you to focus on your professional path and talent. This would be a good time to redo your resume. However, it is not a good time is quit your current job, okay? You do not want to quit your job or don't launch a new business this month. This is not the month for launching a new business. And I know if you are the person who probably has the business right there on the tip of your tongue because we've been thinking big lately, just hold off a little bit. You know, there's some fine tuning that probably needs to be done. Go back and check your whole outline of your business strategy and see if there's some work or, like I said, some fine tuning that is needed. Pisces risings, this is not a time to launch, okay? Now, although Mercury retrogrades or retrogrades in general is generally not the time for very much movement, it is the time for reflection. And for this time of reflection for all of us, I've put together some journal prompts that will actually help the collective during this Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. Now, my first journal prompt: what is a long held belief or personal philosophy that I've never genuinely challenged? Now, this could be about money, success, relationships, or any type of authority figure, even religion. Why do I still hold on to it? My journal prompt number 2: what major goals or expansive plans did I set for myself earlier in this year? Do these goals still spark true excitement, or were they motivated by external validation? And my last and final journal prompt: when I communicate passionately, where do I tend to lose my filter or become overly blunt? Now, when it comes to my affirmations, you know I love affirmations on this channel. So, of course, I have a few available for this energy in Mercury Sagittarius retrograde. So, my first affirmation: I slow down my thought process and welcome clarity in the details. My second affirmation: I am patient with delays, knowing they redirect me towards my highest path. And my third and final affirmation: I release the need to be right. I choose to be wise and understanding. And you could just get that 2 steps in a circle, honey, okay? Now, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video on up. Now, there is no doubt in my mind that this Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius energy is extremely messy, okay? But the bigger purpose is to see the beauty. The beauty in slowing the archer's hand down so it can be sure the arrow is pointed at the truth and still aligned with the soul purpose. You know, there's a little bit of beauty in that journey. So take this time to pause, review, and refine your vision. You will move forward with incredible clarity once this cycle is over, once you do that. Ultimately putting us ahead of the game because we're always prepared. We're always ready, so we don't have to what? Get ready. You already know what it is, okay? Now, if you made it this far in the video, go ahead and hit that like. Go ahead and like something. And also comment below, what old belief are you being called to question during this retrograde? Because I feel like everybody has a belief that is being called to question right now. What's yours? So go ahead and put it in the comments. Go ahead and subscribe to your girl if you haven't. You'll definitely be seeing another video from me because I got the Jupiter retrograde video coming up. Lord, all these planets are in retrograde right now with the exception of Pluto. I was tired. I think we all are, but we definitely getting through this energy together. So make sure that you show this video some love, and I will holler at you later, Cosmic Cousins. You already know what it is. I'm out.